Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 2017's It.
Hello, Georgie.
Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Idle Poncho. This, as have been the last quite a few movies, is a request, a PayPal request. Thank you for requesting the 2017 version and only chapter 1. That was great. Because this would have been a 2-hour review, but
oh my gosh,
we're just focusing on chapter 1 today. And before we get into the movie, let's start off with the cast of 2017's It. This film stars Bill Skarsgard as Pennywise, Jaeden Martell as Bill, Finn Wolfhard as Richie, Sophia Lillis as Beverley, Jeremy Ray Taylor as Ben, Chosen Jacobs as Mike, Jack Dylan Grazer as Eddie, Wyatt Oleff as Stanley, and Nicholas Hamilton as Henry, or Dollar Store Kevin Bacon.
This is a great example of, one, all these kids did a really good job.
Absolutely.
In what they did. However, there are two standouts, and I think it's no surprise that it's Finn and Sophia, because they've just been everywhere. Finn, from Stranger Things. Sophia's been in a ton of shit.
Yeah.
Recently, especially after this. So what you can tell in the difference in acting in this is Finn and Sophia both use their hands while they're acting and talking.
Yeah.
Most of the other kids are standing like this. And like, ah, rah, rah, and they still did a phenomenal job. Like, all these kids would outact the dick out of me. It wouldn't even be funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you could just tell that one subtle difference in what makes really great actors and really good actors.
Mm-hmm.
And the two really great actors in this film both used their hands and spoke like normal people do.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. I love this movie so much.
This movie is fantastic. And I loved, back in the day, the original when it came out.
Yes.
I don't know, what was it, 93, whatever year it was?
Something
like that. It was a made-for-TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, it broke it out into the two parts. But this, chapter 1, even back then, was always my favorite. Chapter 2, back then, I was like, it's got, Harry from Night Court, so cool. And I liked it, but it just, that first one as kids, because when it came out, I was literally right around that age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't too far off from that age. And this takes place in 1988, Derry, Maine, and in 88, at their age, I was literally their age in 88 at this time. So a lot of it just kind of brings you back a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think this is what made this version better for me, because one, Tim Curry's Pennywise is fucking iconic.
Absolutely.
Like, that is one of the scariest roles ever. He was phenomenal in that in that movie. But what separated this was like you said, the time frame. Because having this play in 88 to 89, you can see on the movie marquees the movies that were out at that time, and that's kind of giving you an idea of when it is. It was a little more relevant for people our age.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other one, and what is the book, which is set in the 50s.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of lost on all that, and to be honest, like, the 50s seems so hokey in movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the diners and the jeans and the poodle skirts. It's like, I fucking get it. At this point, I'm done with it.
Yeah. So, no, I'm glad they did update that piece of it. But this movie opens up as Bill helps his brother Georgie make a paper sailboat to take out in the rain and play. And Bill's too sick to go outside and play with Georgie, so Georgie goes by himself. Yep. And I'm already stopping here because at one point he says, hey, Georgie, go down to the basement and get the stuff to paint the boat with so it doesn't get all soaky and whatever. But Georgie walks downstairs and it's dark and rainy, and his mom is this is the only time I think we see the mom in the whole movie. She's playing some creepy piano riff. And I'm like, hey mom, how about you, like, I don't know, go do something else. Like, go find a hobby other than playing creepy music in the rain. Like, that's just not cool. And that's why Georgie's so scared of the goddamn basement.
Yeah, you're not helping with your Vincent Price soundtrack.
You piss off.
I was just going to say, this is one of the things where unless you've really read the book, and for me, this is my favorite Stephen King book.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I feel like anybody that actually reads this book, it needs to be your favorite because it's 4,000 pages long.
Yeah.
It's obscene how long this fucking book is. So by the end of it, you're like, whether you like it or not, it's got to be your favorite book just because you put so much time into it. But unless you've read the book, there's a lot of the things that they don't fill in, like the fact that or Pennywise, really has a hold over all the adults in the town. Like when he comes back up to feed at the 27 years, there's just like this malaise that falls over all of the older people in this town where they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of like what the mom is doing. Like every time you see the parents or an adult in this movie, and there's a lot of times where you see them and they're horrible people, it's because Pennywise has a grip on them at that point.
Yeah. Apparently Pennywise makes them horrible people and pedophiles. So that's cool.
Well, how about that?
But I do have a question here. How many times as a kid, outside of sports, did you just randomly go out and just specifically go out to play in the rain? Because for me, the answer is 0 times.
Yeah, dude, I grew up in Arizona. What's rain?
Yeah, great point. I grew up in New York. It rained all the time. So, but I never went out and played in the rain. But Georgie here takes his boat, goes outside, and he's got his, rain boots and the slicker and the whole nine. And he looks like, I know what you did last summer. And he's out there playing with his boat. And he's playing with it in the gutter runoff. And he chases it and blasts himself on a roadblock. And his sailboat goes into the sewer.
To explain away a lot of the odd behavior of Georgie starting off here, where you're like, that's peculiar. You're acting very weird. He's from Maine. And if you're a New Englander or know anything about Maine, that explains a lot. They're just a little bit different.
Thank you for the clarification, because I got a lot of questions about this freaking kid, but whatever. Because Georgie goes in runs to get the sailboat, and he runs into Pennywise, the dancing clown who lives in the sewer. And he gets eaten by Pennywise and dragged into the sewer. It's a fantastic scene. It's gruesome. The whole, like, when he chews off his arm and he's like crawling away, like that whole scene is phenomenal.
I remember seeing this part in the theater. And this was back when you were allowed to go to a movie theater, or at least people knew how to fucking behave in a movie theater, where you could enjoy a fucking movie in the theater.
Yes.
Without somebody cutting a DVD commentary behind you, some dickhead texting to the left of you. Don't be that person. Sons of bitches. But anyway, sorry, little tangent there. What I remember about this in the theater was, because in the made-for-TV version, as you brought up before, it was made for TV, and that was made for TV back in the 90s. So quite a few things were never going to be seen on TV, let alone a little kid being gruesomely murdered.
Yes.
This, his arm gets taken, and you see the blood running off of the stump back into the gutter.
It's fantastic.
This was a totally different experience, and the whole theater at that moment, when I saw it, just went, oh, this shit's different.
Yeah.
Like, we just all kind of sat back and it got very solemn. Like, we didn't know what to expect at this point. Fantastic opening scene.
I have to stop here because I have a few questions. First, I'm going to do a don't do that. If you're out there playing in the rain as you do, or as everybody else besides me and Corey does, and you see a human talking to you from the sewer, that's a sewer rat. and you need to run away as quickly as possible. This is why most of these movies take place in places like Maine and not New York City or LA, because most kids in big cities know when there's a human being trying to lure you into the sewer that they're living in, you just run away. And that's what you do. Second, so yeah, don't do any of that. Second, where in America, outside of Maine apparently, are there sewer grates this fucking big where a human, not even a child, what's he, like 9 in this? Yeah. Like you're a little bit larger of a human being at that point, that your whole body can get dragged into the goddamn sewer. I don't know anywhere in America where it's that big. And if it is, they actually have the little grates on it, so kids don't get sucked into the sewer by Pennywise the clown.
Well, as you said, it's Maine, and I'm pretty sure that's where they throw their trash away. So
the movie then cuts to 8 months later in June of '89. We see Mike, who works on a farm with his grandfather, played by Stephen Williams, who's making him kill sheep with a nail gun. It starts cutting to the group of quote-unquote losers. And it's the last day of school. Bill and his friends, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley, are heading out to start their summer, and everything's great outside of Georgie being dead. And they run into the school's psycho bully, Henry Bowers, and the fuck around gang that he hangs around with. This whole crew is just psychotic.
Yeah, dude. I was this is our second Stephen King movie in a row.
Yes.
I don't even know how many Stephen King movies we've done. I'm pretty sure if it hasn't been a movie, I've read all the books anyway. And this is the one constant that it's in all of these Stephen King movies and books. So I'm not going to tee off on the bullies. I did that on Cary. You want to see me go off on bullies, go watch Cary. This is my question for Stephen. Are you okay? What the fuck happened in your youth? That these are the characters in your... Because look, dude, I'm not going to even put myself on the same ball field as Stephen King when it comes to writers. And I try and think up, because I write some fucked up situations in my books. Yeah. I try and think up some of the worst shit. But bro, these bullies, like, what happened to you?
Some awful shit happened to him as a child.
These are the bullies that gave Seal his scars. And why he won't talk about it.
I wanted to pause the movie because I was talking to Henry as the movie was playing. And I said the same thing you just said to Stephen King. I was like, hey, Henry, everything okay at home? What's going on, buddy? I just wanted to rub him on his back, give him some applesauce, and just have a talk to him. Because
clearly, like, you see through this movie, he's a bitch.
Yes.
Like, our Terrence Howard from Best Man would call him a punk ass.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we all know you're a punk ass, Henry, but like, just somebody hug this fucking kid for the love of God.
Obviously, there's some home shit going on because he approaches Bill and threatens him until he sees his father, who's a cop, standing behind Bill. And then he immediately shuts down, walks away, but not before licking his palm and smearing it on Bill's face like, ooh, the 80s, where you could just randomly wipe bodily fluid on people without being arrested for battery.
Yeah. This might be my OCD talking, but I wouldn't have needed a full summer to stick up to Henry and fight back with a rock fight. You lick your palm and you touch my face, period. We've covered this acknowledgement too. You touch my fucking face, period. We're going, you lick it and touch me? Bro, you're fucking dead. Listen, and not even like in the figurative, like, oh, I'm going to kill you. Like, I'm going to, in the worst way, Viet Cong style torture possible, murder you.
Won't do any good to run, girly boy.
this is what separates good bullies from kind of just like what Henry is you got to know what people's breaking points are.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that picked on me as a kid knew to keep bodily fluids off of me, because that's when I'm going to snap. Because nothing even came close to that.
Yeah, same. We then meet the rest of the crew. We meet Beverley. She's in the girls' bathroom. Greta and the Mean Girls psycho clique. They accuse her of being a slut, and they dump wet trash on her. Not just trash, bro. Wet trash. Steven,
this is how you,
if you need to talk, call us, please. I'm just saying.
This is how you know Beverly's the poor kid, like the poorest kid in school.
Yes.
She's the Kenny McCormick of Derry, Maine. Because in the next scene, she is literally wearing the same backpack over her back like nothing happened. She's
Absolutely.
just like, oh, hey, Ben, what are you listening to? New Kids on the Block? Weird. No problems whatsoever. Like, you just got trash dumped on you. It's the last day of school. That backpack can go in the trash. I mean, I know your dad's going to find it when he's cleaning up the school later.
I know.
But
we then cut to Bill getting home and going into the garage, and his father, instead of praising him for his ingenuity, yells at him for creating the model with tubes of the sewer because he doesn't believe that Georgie's dead and he's just still missing. And so he loses his shit on him. And I'm like, dude, if my son built that elaborate system of tubes, like, this is the entire sewer system of the town we live in, I'd be like, awesome, you're going to be a civil engineer when you grow up. Not like, he's dead, leave it alone.
Yeah,
your mother better not see this shit. Dad, pump the brakes. Like, I get it. You lost your kid. I understand that. But can you not treat your living son like total horseshit?
Yeah, I mean, isn't this the reason you had two of them?
Like, everybody's parents, and I know we preface this with, like, Pennywise or It is, kind of controlling the parent. But everybody's parents are literal pieces of shit.
Oh, yeah. And here's what's crazy, because I was going to say this. Like, we brought up Pennywise, as you said.
Yeah.
Controlling everybody. But this seemed like a fairly reasonable, not reasonable, but like what you would expect a person who has lost a child, how them to behave when the older child is still kind of trying to dig around for answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the dad just kind of wants to move on, and he's just fucking furious and pissed. And obviously, it's a complete overreaction, but it's safe to say that if you've lost a child, you might not be 100% in your right mind.
Oh,
let alone,
yeah, absolutely.
Let alone when it's creeping around your butthole trying to get in.
Exactly.
So,
and we then get scenes of all the kids running into Pennywise. So you get Mike going to the butcher shop for a delivery. The door opens in the alley, like the burnt hands come out.
And this is another part of the book where, unless you read the book, it might not be clear, but back in the day, Mike's parents went to a nightclub that was black people only, because that was Maine. Still today, I think, in certain parts. Dude, Maine for me is like Buffalo for you. Okay?
I know, right?
Fuck that place. But anyway, they went to a club that was for black people only. Basically, a group of white supremacists showed up and burnt the club down with everybody inside, including Mike's parents. So what Mike sees is all of those hands from where that club was, basically trying to get out, because that's his parents and one of his biggest fears. And again, in case you haven't caught up yet, Pennywise feeds on fear. That's why he's just torturing the kids and trying to scare the shit out of them up to this point.
And they keep the burning alive piece of it, but they changed the backdrop of it in this movie. Which we see later as Mike explains that his parents got burned alive in their house versus the club. But then Mike sees Pennywise, and then he's almost run over by the fuck-along gang in their car. And Then you see Stan in the synagogue studying for his bar mitzvah. This was the creepiest scene for me, because they have the painting and because his dad's the rabbi. So in his office, you have the creepy, weird painting of the lady, which he's already scared of. Yes. And that basically comes to life and it's like behind him. And I liked the way they did this because it's not a jump scare. It's a slow creeping scare.
They John Carpentered the shit out of a lot of these scares.
Yep.
And they did a fantastic job with it.
That's what I really, because you're expecting the jump scare and it doesn't come. And I think it almost makes it scarier when they do that throughout this movie.
Totally. It's like there's a couple of scenes that we'll get to where they do this still, but it almost lets you relax. Like you're expecting the jump scare. It doesn't come. You almost are breathing a sigh of relief. And then it's which is so much worse.
Absolutely.
So much worse.
And then you have Ben in the library looking up Derry's history, and he gets lured into the basement where he sees the headless boy from the book, and he runs away. And then on his way home, this is where Ben's attacked by the fuck-along gang, and Henry starts to carve his name into Ben's stomach, and Henry only gets the H carved in before Ben kicks him in the nuts and he rolls over the bridge and down into the woods. This is what I will say. It's a mini don't do that. Hey, everybody, don't carve your name into other people with a knife. Like that. That's just not cool. Don't do that.
No, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. Don't do that ever in real life. My PSA, though. Hi, white trash kids. Uncle Corey here. If your nickname around school is Belch, as is one of the bullies here, don't dig deeper into that white trash hovel. Start digging out of it. Maybe dress a little better if you can. Understand if you can't, you're a little white trashy. So do better in school. You have a very nice car. Keep it nice and clean. Don't let shitheads run. Try and broaden your horizons and get out of the hole that is the nickname of Belch. Yes. That's not where you want to be. Ever. Like maybe 4th grade, that's like the cool shit. You can like have milk come out of your nose and flip your eyelids. But that shit ends when you start discovering like, oh, my penis is for more than peeing. Immediately cease and desist with Belch and get the fuck out of there.
Meanwhile, while, Ben's getting, carved up like a turkey, Bill and the boys are near the sewers, and then Ben falls into the water near them. The boys bring him to town to get him all cleaned up.
This is one of our first real introductions into Richie, who I absolutely love.
His character's fantastic.
And Finn plays him so well. Seth Green played him in the original, who did a good job. With that 1950s, but this was so much better than having Richie be afraid of the Wolfman, like he was in the book and in the original TV movie. It's just his character all around was fantastic comic relief throughout.
Yeah,
and he brought out a lot of the other personalities in the other kids. As well, just when they're back and forth.
Yeah,
it's great.
His comedic timing, because obviously Richie's he's the comic, he grows up to be a performer, but like the actor's comedic timing, and he hits everything on beat, and it adds so much. He does such a great job with the character.
Okay, I can smell that from here. It's probably just your breath wafting back into your face.
His character's fantastic. He steals every single scene. And I loved how they kept him out of everything that was happening to the other losers. Like everybody's seeing stuff at this point except for Richie. He still is just kind of tagging along just because he's friends with everybody.
And they go into the pharmacy. They run into Beverley. She's buying tampons. She pretends here to flirt with the pharmacist, Mr. Keene, to distract him so the boys can steal the stuff that they need and, get out to Ben. And it works because Mr. Keene's a fucking pedophile, along with everyone else in this fucked up town. And again,
yeah, dude.
not to revisit this, and I know in the book it alludes to the fact, or it specifically says that, it's kind of put this haze over all the adults. I don't think the haze involves pee-pee touching. And it seems like half the adults in this town are running like a pedophile ring.
Well, yeah, her dad is absolutely molesting her, like, regardless of its influence.
Yes. And then Bev goes home to her father, who's the biggest pedophile of them all in the entire town. And he comes on to Bev, and she runs into the bathroom crying and cuts off all of her hair.
I want to know, as a young actress, or even an actor playing a role where you're being molested, what the fuck do you take away from this? Like,
dude,
what is the conversation leading up to this? What is the crew doing? Are your parents on set? I am dying to know what these conversations are that lead up to this, and how a kid reacts to scenes like this.
Yeah, so a couple of things here, because the one thing that I liked about these scenes, if there is something to like, is that they leave it up to the imagination. They don't physically shoot anything. It's alluded to, heavily alluded to. Oh, yeah. But the creepiness, the lighting of the apartment, everything that they use in these shots makes it so incredibly obvious what's going on. Both of the actors, the father and Bev, do a great job with relaying that message.
Yes.
Through and not even just through like the verbal, like daddy's little girl, which it makes me gag every time. But just the nonverbal acting. Like,
oh, dude, the way he was touching her hair was so gross and violent.
Dude.
What you were saying is 100% accurate here, and is a lesson for other directors, Eli Roth, that insist on putting things like rape in every fucking movie they do.
Yes.
You don't have to show the physical act. It was very clear what was going to happen here. Mm-hmm. Other shows have done it very clear where you don't have to see the act happening. So if you are forced to put something like rape into your film, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. After this, the boys are then at the quarry doing some, summertime things and jumping into the water, and they're talking about jumping in their tighty whities. When Bev shows up and just flies off the edge into the water, the boys follow suit, and they're all swimming. And then later, as they're sunbathing on the rocks, Ben tells everyone what he read about Derry's history and the kids disappearing every 27 years and whatever.
Ben is a boner killer.
That's one way to describe him.
We're all chilling, even if she's your friend. It's the first girl you've ever seen in her bra and panties. It's gonna make you freak out at that age. And then here comes Ben, who's, by the way, cock blocking Bill every chance he gets.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, and I mean the dickhead cock blocking.
Your hair is beautiful, Beverley.
You've played in the water. You're laying out. You have Bev, who is of age, and finally some kids of her own age are actually having a natural reaction to seeing her in the way she is.
Yeah.
And Ben goes, "Hey, you guys want to hear about some fucked up shit? Kids get kidnapped here 6 times the national average, and a lot of fucking people die every 27 years.
He's like fucking Debbie Downer from SNL.
I had a mole looked at recently, and the doctor told me that due to the extent of its irregular borders, I'm flirting with a melanoma.
And also here, just on a side note, if I was going to the water when I was a kid, up somebody's pool, the quarry, even though I didn't have a quarry, I always brought trunks. And if I didn't have trunks on me, I would just swim in my shorts. All these boys are way too comfortable in their tighty whities swimming in the quarry. Call me a prude, but when I was like 12, 13 years old, I wasn't about to just chill out my tighty whities like, yeah, you guys want to go jump in the quarry? I'm good. I'll pass. That's a quick don't do that too. Don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't learn that lesson, and was duped into swimming in white shorts by two girls when I was about this age, and they didn't know about shrinking and what happens at nighttime when it gets cold and you're swimming.
I think women know about shrinkage.
How do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
Poor Corey. We'll move on because we'll talk about poor Eddie now. Because Eddie, who...
I thought we were going to move on past me.
Eddie gets attacked here by a leper. And he runs away through the creepy burnt house's yard. He gets to the fence, sees Pennywise trying to lure him in. Eddie then runs under the fence and escapes.
This was intense.
This was one of the scarier... Yeah, this was one of the scarier scenes.
I wasn't necessarily scared of the leper itself. Like, I mean, it was disgusting. But it was just the intensity of, like, running and him being Eddie and not, like, the most athletic kid. So he's tripping every 3 feet, which actually played into character. Yeah. You know, it wasn't one of these rando things where it's like, I'm the star football player. Now there's a monster chasing me. Oops, I fell.
Yeah.
So get the fuck out of here. That doesn't happen. But, like, this kid, absolutely, he's falling every 3 feet when he's trying to run away. And it was just perfect, perfectly scary. And again, Bill Skarsgard as Pennywise here, getting more and more screen time is just...
He's brilliant.
It's so good.
As good as Tim Curry was in the original, he, again, just takes it to another level.
Yeah, and he's so different. Well, that's the thing. He's so different. Than what Tim Curry's character was. And it's the only way you could have possibly done it. And
then Bev gets her exchange with, Pennywise in the bathroom. She's reading the postcard that Ben gave her, but she hears voices of children in the sink. And she looks into the sink where the voices are coming from. First of all, let's discuss my I didn't used to be like this, but I am such a germaphobe at this point. And these clumps of hair come out of the sink. It wraps itself around her. And then if that didn't like trigger my germaphobe in me, she's over the sink and the blood comes shooting out of the sink. And in my head, I'm like, close your mouth. Her mouth wide open, and she just gets a mouthful of blood.
This is how I know Stephen King at some point in time was a plumber. Because Bev is cutting her hair, letting these huge clumps of hair fall down the drain. Don't do that. And that leads me to believe that she's also throwing her Tampax down the goddamn toilet and flushing it too. So it is like, bitch, I live in the sewer. I live here. And I got fucking used tampons and goddamn clumps of hair falling all over me because of you. Payback time.
And then Bill gets his visitation from Pennywise in the form of Georgie walking around the house. So he follows Georgie into the basement, which is flooding. And Georgie steps out, and this is so creepy, tells Bill to come with him, saying, we all float down here, you'll float too. And then, as Georgie is screaming, Pennywise comes out of the water and chases Bill out of the basement in this weird blur, fast-forward motion. By the way, Human Tornado, this is how you do something in fast-forward that looks really cool. Outside of karate.
The way he lands on the foot of the stairs at the basement and then kind of just slithers back into the water.
Yeah.
Dude, the subtle ways that they made him just creepier and creepier.
Yep.
Was phenomenal, dude.
No, absolutely.
Like that scene was for me one of the best scares in the whole movie. From Georgie just sitting there, and then, as we said, getting louder and decaying, and then it rising out of the water, and then the speed and slither back. Dude, fuck all of it. That's when I'm out.
Yeah.
I am sucking truck drivers' dicks until I reach the West Coast. I am out.
After this, they start talking to each other and revealing to each other that they've all seen this crazy shit, including Pennywise. And they go to Bill's garage to look at the map of Derry. And as they're doing it, the projector takes on a life of its own. Pennywise pops out again with all the kids there. And he disappears as, I believe it's Ben, throws open the garage.
We got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
One, going back to when they're all discussing how they've seen Pennywise and the clown and all this weird shit. Once again, Finn Wolfhard comes in with the brilliant comedic timing.
Wait, can only virgins see this stuff? Is that why I've not seen this yet?
As the little smart-ass comedian that I thought I was coming up, he warmed my heart every time he said something.
Same.
Except for when he and Bill get into the fight. Then he's an asshole. And then, like, the whole projector scene. Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If any of your electronics just start doing random shit, and are especially doing random shit that is fucking terrifying, don't stand there in awe of what is happening. Problem solve the fuck out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Unplug immediately. Destroy your electronic if it continues. Open the garage door. Run away. Again, hitchhike and suck dick your way to the West Coast. There's a whole string of things you can do here that do not involve standing there with your mouth opening, watching the scary thing get closer and closer to you. And mostly, Mike, I'm disappointed in you because this is what happens when you hang around with white people.
Yeah.
You should have known better, sir, and ran the fuck out. The second the projector turned on, he would have been like, yo, are any of you doing magic? No, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And left.
After this, they go to the burnt house because they figured that's where it lives, because that's where the well is. Bill, Richie, and Eddie go in. Eddie gets separated from the other two when Pennywise finds him. And he falls through the floor, lands in the kitchen, and breaks his arm.
The falling through, being afraid, the broken arm, being hurt, being terrified of Pennywise, those little kid hits that he does on Pennywise's face.
It's fantastic.
I genuinely felt for him.
Yeah.
In this whole scene.
Yeah.
It was great. And in the book, because I know there are a lot of people that really got pissed off about this when the movie came out, because in the book, Henry breaks his arm. I personally like it that it happened this way because we've had enough of Henry. We get that he's a brutal motherfucker.
Yeah.
Showing him breaking Eddie's arm, like, obviously he's going to torture Eddie too. Yeah. It's just a matter, you know what I mean? Like, I really like the way they did it in this movie.
This whole scene inside the house, all these little scenes were great. Because you have Bill and Richie that go upstairs, and you get Richie gets caught in the clown room.
Which you also get Tim Curry's Pennywise.
Yes.
Shout out next to the little coffin.
Yep.
Which was dope.
You get them trying to get back to Eddie, and you got like the three doors. You have like the torso chick in the one door. They finally reach Eddie as Pennywise is about to eat him. And Beverley comes up out of nowhere like Superwoman and rams the spear through Pennywise's head and basically forces Pennywise to run away.
When he pours out of the fridge, coming at Eddie.
So great.
Is taunting Eddie and teasing him and like doing all that shit and pretending he's going to bite him. When he finds out, like, they've figured out upstairs that it's the fear and that none of this is real, and he kind of stops and turns all the way through Bev hitting him with the poker. Dude, it's so great. Like, this isn't real enough for you, Billy? This isn't real? I'm not real enough?
It's so great. And then this is where Bill and Richie get into a fight, and then they all part ways to do their own thing for the summer, because Richie's like, fuck this. I'm out. You're basically trying to get us killed, and I ain't about that life. So I'm about this Street Fighter life. So I'm going to go play Street Fighter the rest of the summer.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. Look, man, if you're afraid, just admit that you're afraid. Lashing out at your friends and loved ones is not the way to go about it, because you get punched in the face. And it's deserved because you act like an asshole. So just Fine. Just admit you're afraid. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's afraid. You are in some next level shit anyway. Everybody's afraid. You should have no problem admitting that what you saw freaked you the fuck out, especially considering it was your first time.
Yeah.
Bill and Ben and everybody's been dealing with the clown all summer. This was Richie's first interaction. Just don't be Richie here, dude.
Georgie is dead. Stop trying to get us killed too. You couldn't save him, but you can still save yourself.
No.
Richie found out real quick what ride or die meant, and he's like, yeah, that ain't me. Just not me.
But then after this, we get Henry getting caught shooting his dad's gun, and he gets a visit by Pennywise, who convinces Henry to kill his dad and the group of losers, as they're referred to. And the scene where he walks in with the knife and just like places it up against his dad's neck,
dude,
and then just hits the switch, dude. That again, it's not like he went in, dad was sleeping, and holds his head and sleep. Like, it was just this very calm, as you got the shots of the TV and Pennywise on the TV saying "kill them all," and he just like very gently places it up to his dad's neck and then just hits the like. It's so creepy and subtle. I mean, for a murder scene, it's so creepy and subtle. And
it's
shot
brilliant.
So brilliantly.
With the kids chanting over the television, kill them all, kill them all.
It's so great. And then
as far as a kill scene, it's absolutely wonderful. And I mean, I can't believe I got to do this again. Hi, parents. Uncle Corey here. If you catch your kid playing with a gun or just overall doing some heinous, horrible shit, don't shoot a gun at their feet. That's not anywhere in Dr. Spock's parenting book. And I've never read it, but I promise he doesn't say, hey, if your kid's a fucking psychotic dickhead, make him more psychotic and shoot a gun at his feet.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't a Western.
Fuck?
This isn't a Western.
No.
We then cut to Bev's dad and his attempt to rape his daughter here. And she fights him off and then kills him by blasting him in the head with the toilet lid. And just as she's about to leave the bathroom, Pennywise finds her and takes her. This was the most gratifying kill scene in almost any horror movie I've seen. Like, this is definitely top 5 most gratifying. Like, so glad that dude's dead. Scenes.
And I think she really, I think she really hit him with the back end of a fucking toilet thing. Because, credit to audio department on this one.
Yeah.
Because that sounded like somebody got cracked with the fucking top of a toilet tank. Like, I felt that shit in my bones.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you then get Bill going to Bev's house and sees her father dead in the bathroom, sees the "you'll die if you try" written in blood on the wall. Then Bill gets the band back together to go rescue Bev. The boys go to the Niebolt house and find the well where it lives, and they climb down the rope into the well, but before Mike can head down, who's the last one, Henry shows up and attacks him. Mike fights him off and manages to push Henry down the well.
This was my most satisfying. I mean, spoiler alert, I know he's not dead.
Yeah.
But this was amazing.
This was a great scene.
This was absolutely amazing. I love that Mike just got that fucking nerd rage and went off.
Yes.
It's just everything about it was great. It wasn't he realized very quickly when Henry shot the gun that he was in a life or death situation.
Yeah.
Like, it was really real. A lot of these movies that involve kids or even adults for that matter, when they have that happen, they still try and bargain. Like, come on, man. Don't do this, Henry. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like, you're trying to kill me? I gotta try and kill you. That's the only way that works out.
Dude showed up with blood all over his face. I'm pretty sure Talkie Talkie is done.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and dude, his falling down the well, you want to talk about, again, feeling some shit?
oh yeah.
Him just careening off the walls and ricocheting all the way down like a fucking pebble. Oh, It was amazing.
Stan here then gets attacked by it as the woman, the creepy woman from the painting. And as she starts to nosh on his face, the boys come in, finally scare it away. And, you know, Stan's got like the marks on the side of his face for where the teeth started to sink into his face. And then the boys finally get to its home in the sewer.
And Stan, rightfully so, goes off on these guys.
Oh,
he was the one guy who was like, "Don't fucking leave me." He did not want to be alone.
Here's the thing. You could say that rightfully so. He's the one that walked away from the rest of the crew. They were all at the mouth of the well, and he was just like, "Hey, what's that over there? Let me dip it in it." And now you're in another room, like it's like some Freddy Krueger dream or some shit.
No, dude, you're completely off base here. It's a buddy system.
I get that it's a buddy system.
Where was his reliability buddy? Somebody should have been holding his hands the entire way through that tunnel.
Dude, they're all looking up to make sure Mike's not fucking dead because Henry Fuckstick is at the top there trying to kill him.
Look, others can look. I need a reliability buddy.
But the boys then finally get to its home in the sewer. They find Bev floating along with the other kids. They pull her down. Ben kisses her to break her out of her trance. That's sexual assault, brother. That's 3 to 5.
Oh yeah, he's definitely getting brought up on charges these days. Sorry, you can't just Weinstein people because you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether or not you're going to save their lives, like Sleeping Beauty. No, dude, the prince lost his crown after that.
Yeah,
he's doing 20 in Lompoc.
Bill then sees Georgie and, realizing it's not him, shoots him in the head with the nail gun, and Georgie then turns into Pennywise, and they fight him off until he has a hold on Bill.
They did a really good job here, leaving that one tiniest seed of doubt.
Yes.
Because Bill the whole time is just blinded by Georgie's alive. He's alive. He's in the sewers. He's alive.
Yep.
And just that one, like, for that most drug out 10 seconds maybe in movie history, you're like, yo, was that fucking Georgie? And then obviously he starts to change. And you're like, Jesus, thank God.
And Pennywise tries to make the deal here to let him keep Bill, and he would let them all go free, and he'd go away for his 27 years or whatever, and they can grow old and do whatever.
This is my favorite scene in the entire movie, is Richie's monologue here.
Yes, Richie gets his little monologue, and he's like, fuck that!
I'm gonna have to kill this fucking clown.
And they begin to beat the shit out of Pennywise until he retreats into the well.
And again, this was a one of those things in the movie theater, because I saw it opening night, crowded-ass movie theater. Richie's going through his whole thing, and I swear to God, nobody was breathing during this whole monologue. They're like, yo, is he about to ditch this fucking dude?
Yeah.
And then and now I got to kill this fucking clown. They erupted like everybody's team just won the Super Bowl. Yeah. It was amazing. I really miss a good theater experience.
Yeah,
the motherfuckers don't know how to act anymore, dude. I'd much rather sit at home. Matrix, I'm watching that shit HBO Max. I don't care. I'll buy a sound system for it.
I watched Halloween Kills at home. So,
and if you haven't caught on, Halloween Kills is the one that got me.
Yeah, that was the best, the best subscription to a streaming service that I've ever paid for.
I could start an entire podcast series on my experience in the theater watching Halloween Kills alone.
I know.
It's so bad.
So the movie ends here as the losers swear on a blood oath to return to Derry in 27 years, should it ever return. And,
which, by the way, if you watch how everybody's hands are holding, a blood oath is supposed to be the mixture of blood.
Yeah.
Only Bev and Bill mix that, which I know what Bill's going for, and she's going to make you still wear a condom, dude.
I'm also going to do a don't do that. Hi, kids. I know back in, ye good old days, blood oaths were a thing. Don't do that ever. I don't care if it's a clean knife, dirty knife, some random piece of glass like Bill finds, like, hey, let's cut our hands and we're going to be blood brothers. You could shove that up your ass. I am not doing any of that shit. I've already established that I'm a germaphobe, and you could take that broken beer bottle glass and seriously shove it up your ass. No blood oaths for this guy. How about we just go, I'm your ride or die, buddy. I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's put this in context, Bill. I just fought a fucking creature that feeds off of fear in little children. And won with you.
I think we're good.
I think we're good. If you need anything other than my word,
yeah,
fuck you. Look up my resume on LinkedIn. I ain't fucking giving you shit.
And then the movie ends as, she explains to Bill that she's moving to Portland now. And as she walks away, Bill runs up to her and kisses her. And that's the end of chapter 1. This movie is, obviously we tongue kissed this movie for a while. And this is going to be one of those longer reviews that I don't care if it's a little longer because it deserves it.
Well, yeah. Plus it's 2 hours and however many minutes.
Yeah. This movie from beginning to end is just a banger. They did all the decisions that were made were fantastic decisions, from casting to the director, how he shot it, lighting he used. This entire movie wasn't just a horror movie. This elicited feelings throughout the entire movie.
Totally.
Every scene you had some feeling about. It wasn't just another scene to set up this next scene.
This isn't real enough for you, Billy?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right with, literally everything you just said. I don't have much more to add to it. It's just, if you're going to redo a classic movie or do a Stephen King style book, this is the way it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Big budget, good actors, spend the money to get it done correctly and make the scares worth it. And the things they changed from the book had zero effect on how the movie was experienced.
Yeah.
And I know there are a lot of people out there that are, they need to do a straight, follow the book all the way. Dude, this has a fucking flying turtle that threw up and created our universe. Fuck you doing this book all the way through how it is written. That's insanity. It could never be done. It's just, this movie is about as good as it gets when it comes to making a Stephen King book into a film. It's so well done. And I know the second one gets a lot of shit. And frankly, it's not the movie's fault. Again, it's more about the book and how the book ends and the details you have to go into the second half of that book to get through to the second part. Plus, I don't care who you are, everything as a child is inherently scarier than when you're an adult.
100%. So
it's obviously going to be more frightening for the kids in chapter 1 than it is chapter 2. Overall, dude, this movie is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It is a regular, not just Halloween or October themed movie. I watch this shit year round. I love it. Quite frankly, I think it's probably my favorite remake that they've had to do out of a horror movie.
Yeah, if not my favorite, it's top 2, maybe. Yeah. You know what I mean? But this movie was, it exceeded my expectations, because this could have turned out really bad.
Oh, 100%. Even with what they had to go off of from the first one.
Yep.
There was like we talked about with Tim Curry. If you tried to mimic what Tim Curry's Pennywise was, immediate fail.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, it could have gone horribly wrong really quickly, but this movie, front to back, is a freaking banger. It'll be a banger for years to come. We can revisit this movie in 20 years and it'll still be a banger. So,
100%.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Coming up from our PayPal list, we have Sidekicks, we have Ladybugs, we have Stir of Echoes. I'm looking so forward to that, and we're going to need it after getting Jonathan Brandis to death. And we're also got Any Which Way But Loose. Yep. So making a bit of a left turn, Clyde.
There you go. There you go. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 2017's It.
Happy Halloween, bitches!